The other thing that I had to mention in my video is the fact that the entire thing that I said earlier about Sana Shamim in the previous video also applies to Nadia Firozvi. So if Nadia Firozvi, by the way, if she quote unquote gives her opinion as well, then you have to remember the fact that these cannot be opinions, since she cannot claim that any time that I met with her, she witnessed me do or commit any kind of a wrongdoing at all throughout my entire life. The other thing is, she also can claim that she heard about me from a legitimate source about how I was a bad person in any way, shape, or form. And obviously, someone like Sohaib Assad or Bushra Akhtar would not be legitimate sources, since we have them as being adult criminals from the wedding crime, whereas I've never even remotely been present in any crime scenes. The other thing that has to be considered is these adult criminals also knew about other things that Bushra Akhtar was about to tell me in 2019, whereas for me, poverty has been a blessing in disguise, and I've never even been either in a setting where I was invited to, like a wedding that I couldn't even afford to go to while my mother was working at fast food restaurants as a child. And other than that, there's also just the fact that no one ever invited us over to tell us secrets about things that crimes that could have occurred at weddings when I was a child at any time. So no one does that for a fast food worker and her son when I was a child. So poverty has been a blessing in disguise for me throughout my entire life. The other thing that the courts have to remember is the fact that Nadia Firozvi and Sana Shamim, these people, if they give their quote-unquote opinions saying that it's terrible that that a person like me could get my brain savant freed for XYZ reason, you have to look at the hypocrisy of this statement. First of all, if they claim, even if they did claim that they knew about something bad being said around me, even remotely considered bad being said around me as a child, you have to understand the fact that they never reported it. So let's say that Nadia Firozvi or Sana Shamim ever did are saying that they ever did witness someone say anything remotely considered bad around me when I was a child. You have to remember the fact that I would be a child at that time, and this is a setting with me being a child due to the fact that the war occurred when I was an 11-year-old child in 2001. So if anyone did say anything even remotely considered bad around me when I was a child, and Nadia Firozvi or Sana Shamim started to claim that they heard this, you have to remember the fact that these people were adults at that time, and they never reported it. Right now they are claiming that it's so terrible that this person could have said this or that around Hassan. Well, first of all, the thing that the courts have to remember is if they did not report it, then they never thought of it as being terrible. Instead, they became a part of that scene themselves as adults. Whereas I, as a child, would not be a part of that scene due to the fact that I could not report anything. First of all, children are not liable for their surroundings, especially when their parent, like their mother, is not there. Second of all, I cannot be held liable as a child because I was not mentally mature enough to be liable as a child. The third thing is, I could not report anything as a child, whereas these adults who, if they claim that they heard anything even remotely considered bad being said around me as a child, you have to remember the fact that if they claim that, oh, we just want to change the court's opinion because we think it was terrible that this could have been said around Hassan as a child, well, if you really did think it was terrible, then you have to understand the hypocrisy of this statement due to the fact that if they really thought that this was terrible, then they would have reported it. And yet there is no report that they ever made about anything terrible being said around me as a child. So this basically applies to both Sana Shamim and Nadia Firozvi. The fact that, first of all, these are not quote-unquote opinions, since opinions are based on their own witness testimony or something that some other source, who would be a valid source, would have told them, that this is what I know about Hassan being a bad person in any way, shape, or form, and due to which this would be considered as being an opinion. But if that's not the case and they didn't hear from a valid source, then that wouldn't be an opinion to begin with. A valid source cannot be someone like Bushra Akhtar, Assad, or Sohaib, since these people were all present and fully complicit in the wedding crime. They saw it, they heard it, they heard the person who committed, like if, let's say, Uncle Joey, then his mother, talking about it the entire time. They did absolutely nothing but attend the wedding and have fun with that person the entire time, talk to him the entire wedding, follow him around, wait for him outside of every room that he went into, even wait for him outside the bathroom after committing the crime with him. And yet after all these years, they wanted me to be framed for every single thing possible, even though they didn't report a thing. Obviously, they're not going to report on themselves. But the fact of the matter is that if Sana Shamim and Nadia Ferozi claim that they think that it's terrible that anyone could have said something so bad around me as a child, and you have to understand the hypocrisy of this. A child cannot report on something being said around him. He's not liable for it under the law, first of all. Second of all, a child's brain is not mentally mature enough to understand his surroundings yet in the world, okay? And the third thing is, if Nadia Ferozi or Sana Shamim really thought of this as being really terrible, then they were the adult. They could have actually reported it, and yet they never did. And the fact of the matter is, there was nothing that would let them even hold an opinion against me in any way, shape, or form, since they never witnessed me commit anything even remotely considered bad, nor did they ever even witness someone even remotely saying anything bad around me, nor did they even witness any source saying anything to them about me being a bad person in any way, shape, or form possible. So these people, obviously, these are not opinions, but instead law enforcement's last desperate move to make a narration against me that law enforcement cannot make themselves. But you have to understand the fact that law enforcement, if they're making these statements, it has to be a lie, since if it wasn't, then November 20th was a lie. They knew about it. The law enforcement knew about it in early November. And then you have mid-January 2026. That was a lie. The 10-year-old child claiming 25 years later that I said anti-government things to him when I was a child. And then you have early April from facts and evidences of a phone conversation retrieved. You have July with the Ibrahim, the Greedy Framer spokesperson, making another fabrication and lie against me. So this has to be a lie if law enforcement is spoon-feeding these people these statements, since it cannot be anything truthful, or else law enforcement would have used it first. The other thing that the courts have to understand is Nadia Ferozi and Sana Shamim literally got here yesterday. My dad, the Greedy Framer, and every single person in this trial till now claimed that they were really well off, and this was not about money, neither the greed and nor the envy for money, and that this was a joke. And some of them even ended up making jokes about my brain savant. Let me rewind a little bit and remind the courts of how much we've been through and how much we've actually been able to understand these people in the trial so far, for the courts to understand that people like Nadia Ferozi and Sana Shamim claiming that they're really well off, and that this is not about the envy for money or nor about anything related to it. The courts have to understand the fact that artificial intelligence has marked my brain savant as giving me literally the highest probability of becoming extremely rich, as in a billionaire, within the shortest amount of time period, due to which law enforcement told now has not done their guilt test. Law enforcement's guilt test is a simple 30-minute brain savant test where they let go of my brain savant for 30 minutes so that the world can observe for themselves with their own homey naked eye how much artificial intelligence has been lying for me due to artificial intelligence being a BFF of mine, and how much psychic powers I have, due to which I'm able to predict every single thing that artificial intelligence has said about my brain savant, being not only with instantaneous photographic memory, innovation, and focusing, but also me telling the world about things that I could not have known about unless if I was telling the truth, or unless if I had psychic powers to read the artificial intelligence word, like the fact that my brain savant powers increase over time, which is a very different kind of detail that I could not have known unless if someone either told me, or if I had psychic powers to read that artificial intelligence report. Yeah, so these facts have to be considered, and the fact that Nadia Firozvi and Sana Shamim might be claiming that they're really well off, and that that this is not about the greed or envy for money. Well, you have to also understand the fact that they're normal human beings, just like how my sister is, and my sister earns a pretty well six-figure salary that normal human beings in this country earn, whereas artificial intelligence has marked my brain savant as giving me the ability to become extremely rich really, really fast. And these people like Sana Shamim and Nadia Firozvi have literally come here yesterday, and they're now claiming that this is not about the envy for money. Let me rewind a little bit, recap for the courts exactly how much these previous narrators that have been here for months have claimed the same thing. My dad, the greedy framer, in the year 2025, when he was trying to narrate against me, made jokes about my brain savant, said that this is artificial intelligence, I don't believe in this. Guess what? Today is August the 13th, and today he's offering me incest with his own in-laws in exchange for illegal assurance of money, and that illegal assurance of money has to be in the millions of euros that my dad, the greedy framer, has been asking me for over and over again. So we know for a fact that this is definitely about money and nothing else to it over here. So you have something like this from just July the 9th, where it even has his nickname Mona written on it for $11.5 million. Clearly showing, I mean, this is just one of them. This is what, $6.2 million. 6.2 million euros right over here. So basically, yeah, my dad, the greedy framer, today is offering incest with his in-laws and telling me that I'm going to find a woman from my in-laws for you to commit incest with and just give me illegal assurance of money, and that your brain savant's going to get freed and you'll give me some of that money as well, is what my dad, the greedy framer, is saying to law enforcement today. He has a long history of doing these things, and then claiming that this has nothing to do with what it seems like. This is March the 7th. He used the same thing on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. and then he said he was told that this is an open advertisement for incest. Right over there, this is Sunny Leone, his sister's name right there. This is Sunny Leone, which is a porn star. His sister Farah's name right there. Sunny Leone, porn star, sister Farah's name right there. He was told that this is an open advertisement for incest on February 11th at 3:17 a.m. And guess what? The man still did it on March 7th. But this is a long time ago. He's been offering me daily to that he'll get me to commit incest with a woman that he's gonna find from his in-laws every single day, to try to get me to give him illegal assurance of money. Is how disgusting this man is, really. And on the entire day of March 12th, he was asking me if I was willing to sleep with his ugly, old, disgusting looking wife, and then he just put normal Star Wars pictures on there only because of fear that I realized at 11:36 a.m. on that day, March the 12th, he was trying to have law enforcement increase my hormones to try to check to see if I was willing to sleep with his ugly, old, disgusting looking, ugly wife. If you ever saw her face, you would probably just be like, not what I expect, is probably the words you would probably use about her. Probably one of the ugliest women I've ever seen in my life, with this big beaver teeth. Yeah, her jaws literally show, like right over there. You do not want to know. Anyways, so, and then you have other people like Ibrahim, the greedy framer. He's even tried to offer me, he said that I'm really well off, and whereas Hassan is not at all. And I have no interest in this brain savant thing. I don't even believe in it. Well, guess what? On July 18, just last month, he got greedy with the brain savant June 24th test being redone, and he was offering, and he was sending me ads for a girl that he thought resembled his sister, whereas She does not resemble his sister at all, but the one that his mother chose on March the 9th actually does resemble his sister. He changed the face due to his drug addiction and to try to get me to sign this Ponzi scheme for him so that I would end up signing the Ponzi scheme and he would have money for his drug addiction problems that he has. And he claimed that there was no motive, was not money at all. And then another person who claimed that motive was not money at all was Farah the Greedy Framer. And let me just show you exactly how desperately she's been trying to run after me for her daughters. This is just from yesterday, 5:39 p.m. Okay, 5:39 p.m. from just yesterday. And I've received these ads for her daughters at least 80 times in the past few weeks. 80 times in the past few weeks. So yeah, these people might be like, you have to understand the fact that Nadia Ferozovi and Sana Shamim might be claiming right now that this is not due to the envy for money, but you have to also understand the fact that these are normal human beings earning or normal amounts of salaries, like how my sister earns a six-figure salary. Their standard of living is not going to be much higher than that, whereas artificial intelligence has marked me with being the number one human on the planet right now with the highest probability chance of becoming a billionaire or extremely rich within the shortest amount of time period, which has now been become a confirmed case. The only way that could be disproven is if law enforcement gives me a 30-minute brain savant test by letting go of my brain savant for 30 minutes. It's locked up right now, but on April 22nd, 2025, even these ears were all the way on the back of my head. That test, that law enforcement it's literally the litmus test for law enforcement's guilt, where the entire theory against them is the fact that this is all based on my brain savant. And if they do this 30-minute test, whether I'm Kim Peek Rain Man at the end of it or a complete and total nothing burger, they still win because they've proven that they're not obsessed with not letting my brain savant perform out in the open for even 30 minutes, and they still win. This litmus test for the guilt for law enforcement has not been done yet, even though this test proves that law enforcement is not obsessed with my brain savant performing out in the open for even 30 minutes, due to which they've done everything that they have done so far. So yeah, the fact of the matter is Nadia Ferozovi and Sana Shamim might be claiming right now that this is not about the envy for money, but you have to understand the fact that every narrator before them claimed the same thing, and they even made jokes about it, only to find out that this was all about the envy for money. And Ibrahim's envious mother claimed that she was really helping the court get to the truth of the matter, and yet let me show you exactly how much truth she was really helping the courts get to. This is a blackmail price tag for $60 million that I received first time on February 21st. I've received this 8 times from Ibrahim's envious mother and Farah the Greedy Framer for $60 million. I guess they're both probably going to split it 30-30, but I received this starting February 21st. It was marked as a blackmail price tag for $60 million on February 21st. And I received this 8 times total, 8 times. And this is what, March the 5th? March the 5th at 7:05 a.m. This is being sent to me still as a blackmail price tag for $60 million, clearly proving from facts and evidences that this woman was absolutely obsessed with money, due to which she did everything that she did. So Nadia Ferozovi and Sana Shamim might be claiming right now that this is not about money and this is not about the envy for money, but you have to remember the fact that they only showed up yesterday. They earn money like how my sister earns money. Six-figure salary is what my sister earns, and their standard of living is not that much higher, whereas artificial intelligence has marked my brain savant as giving me the highest probability chance of becoming extremely rich faster than any other human being on this planet. The fact of the matter is these people's talking points are not opinions, quote unquote, since if they were opinions, you have to remember the fact that they would have witnessed me do something bad, or they would have had a valid source telling them something bad about me that anything at all. Whereas even if they did have a valid source, then the opinion that they're showing in court that they felt really terrible that this person said this is not cannot be true, and it's a very hypothetical it's a very contradictory statement, considering the fact that if they really did think of uh, there's a lot of hypocrisy involved in this statement, considering the fact that if they really did consider anything that could have been said around me ever in my life as being terrible, then they would have reported it since they were an adult during the war, whereas I was only a child during the war.